Salve te discipuli, this is Help for Your Latin Studies in Henle First Year Latin, exercise number 228. In this exercise, we will translate some sentences from Latin into English. And this, we entered into a new lesson which presents verbs of the fourth conjugation in the passive voice. So you may want to have your grammar book open to page 57, and it's this third column here that shows you our model fourth conjugation verb. Did I say declension? I meant conjugation. It shows our model fourth conjugation verb in this final column in present, imperfect, future tense, all in the passive voice. If you haven't spent any significant time, by the way, comparing the different endings among the different conjugations, it may be worth your while because there are some differences between the different conjugations and how their endings would look. For example, this kind of threw me off. If you look at the future tense of the third conjugation verbs in passive voice, many of them look very similar, almost actually exactly the same as the present tense endings of the second conjugation verbs. And so it's helpful to know what conjugation family each verb comes from so that you can distinguish those endings that look so similar. But for the purposes of exercise 228, we'll mostly be working with the fourth conjugation family, and so you'll want to be able to refer to this final column on page 57 of your grammar book. So with that in mind, let's take a look at number 1. It says, Castra a Romanis semper muniebantur. So let's think about these Latin words, what we know about them, what their endings indicate to us in terms of person, number, tense, case, whatever, or what part of speech they are. Okay, so here this castra looks to be like our subject. It has this ending. It's a second declension neuter noun, meaning camps in the plural. So that ending is nominative and plural in the second declension neuter family. So I'll make a note there. We have this word followed by Romanis. So this expresses an ablative of agent. It's telling us who is doing the action to the subject, which gives us a hint about the voice of our verb. And so this preposition here means by, and this object of the preposition here means Romans. And it should be in the ablative case, right? To be an ablative of agent. We have an adverb semper, meaning always. And then we have our verb. And let's think about what this verb is showing us. I notice the NT. I notice the unter. Okay, so this is right away telling me third person, plural, passive voice, all of those things in just that little ending. So passive voice, third person, plural, and I notice the BA. That is almost always. Is it always? A telltale. If you look at all of these different conjugation families in your grammar book. All of them in the imperfect tense are going to have a BA, tense indicator. So we know that this is imperfect. So that tells us a lot about this verb. It's passive voice, third person, plural, imperfect tense, and it's just recently been given to us again in the review vocabulary section. Munio, a fourth conjugation verb, meaning fortify, or construct if it's used with weam or weas, road or way. Okay, so in this case, I don't see those nouns, weam or weas, so we're going to use fortify as our verb. Okay, so let's think about how then we would translate this to English in an intelligible way. We would start with our subject noun. I don't see any prepositional phrases that we might consider putting first. And so we'll start with our noun. Again, I mentioned that this word is camp or camps. Sometimes you'll see it, sometimes it looks singular in English because we're thinking about many tents that make up a camp. But then it would be expressed in a plural form in Latin. So I could see that going either way. The other, as we translate it to English, we could say the camp. But let's go ahead and I peeked, I cheated, and I looked at the answer key and I saw that they want us to actually say camps. So we'll do that. We'll say the camps. The camps. And then in English, we would give our verb next, subject, verb. So the camps, what were they doing? What was happening? Fortify. Well, I can't just say the camps fortify. We know it's in the passive voice. So this action is done to the subject. So they were not fortifying, they were being fortified. And I say were because the imperfect tense gives us past action, right? Past ongoing action. So I don't say that they are being fortified or that they will be fortified. I'm saying that they were being fortified to make that in the imperfect tense. So the camps were being fortified. And then our ablative of agent. Oh, you know what I forgot about was our adverb. Where might we put that in English? In English, it would make sense to me to put it right here among our helping verbs. The camps, I wouldn't say the camps always were. I wouldn't say the camps were being always fortified. I would say the camps were always being fortified. And then go on to our ablative of agent. By, who or what? The Romans. I think this is plural. Let's double check. Romanus, Romani is a Roman person, and that's singular. And we think through those second declension noun endings. Us, I, o, o. I, orm, is, os, is. So yes, that is an ablative plural. So by the Romans. All right, I think that makes sense, and it captures all of the meaning. And it should be the camps were always being fortified by the Romans. I hope that this has been helpful to you. Have a great day.